Merry Christmas, y'all! Merry Christmas, everyone. I want to share with you my favorite Bible story, and it's found in Luke chapter 1, right before the birth of Jesus. And this is the story of when the angel Gabriel first came to Zechariah and then to Mary. And what we know about Zechariah is that he's a priest, and it is his turn to be ministering to the heart of the Lord. And the priest's job was to represent God to the people and the people to God. And so it's his turn, and he's ministering to the heart of the Lord. And the Bible says in Luke 1:11, then the angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. But Zechariah's response is really interesting. It says, he was startled and gripped with fear. Then the angel said to him, don't be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to give him the name John. So we see that he had been praying with his wife. But you would think that a priest whose job is to be before the presence of the Lord, you would think that he would be in great anticipation, number one, for an encounter with God, and number two, that faith would be rising in him to know that his prayer has been heard. And yet he is so surprised by this. The Bible says he was startled and gripped with fear. And then later in the chapter, in verse 18, Zechariah asks the angel a question, and he says, how can I be sure of this? I am an old man, and my wife is well along in years. And poor Zechariah, this just shows his total lack of faith. But I love Gabriel's response. The angel answered, I am Gabriel. Like, duh. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not able to speak until the day this happens, because you did not believe my words. And this encounter with Gabriel is in complete contrast to the encounter that Gabriel had with Mary. Later in the chapter, we see this. In the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph. And when Mary saw the angel said, greetings, you who are highly favored, the Lord is with you. Mary's response was very different than Zechariah's. The Bible says Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this was. And then she asked the angel a question also. Remember, Zechariah asked, how can I be sure of this? Mary has a completely different question. She says, how will this be since I am a virgin? She believed. She was full of faith. She just didn't know how it was going to happen. And the contrast is so interesting to me. You've got a priest, and it's his job to like full-time ministry, and he should, just by the very nature of his job and being in the presence of the Lord, and his job is to represent God to the people. So he himself should be full of faith, believing that he's going to have an encounter and believing that his prayers are going to be heard and answered. When it did come, his faith didn't match it. And then we have this young virgin. The angel comes to her, similar message, and somehow she is full of faith and fully accepts what God says to her. And then in verse 38, she says, I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said. And then the angel left her. And a little bit further down in Luke 1, Mary goes to visit Elizabeth. And of course, by now, Elizabeth is pregnant. Zechariah cannot speak. Elizabeth is showing by now. And here's what Elizabeth says to Mary. Blessed is she who has believed what the Lord has said to her will be accomplished. And every time I read that story, I just say to the Lord, I want to have a Mary heart. I don't want a Zechariah heart. I want to fully anticipate an encounter with you. I fully believe that what I'm praying for, he's hearing. I fully believe that I am on the heart of God and that he wants to encounter me. And when he does, may I have that same heart to where I recognize it and my faith matches my prayer life and matches my belief in who God is. And just my desire in my life is to live every day with a yes, Lord heart. No matter what he asks me to do, no matter how scary the encounter is or how big the job is that he asked me to do, that I will have a yes, Lord heart. I hope this message blesses you. You can find the story in Luke chapter 1, and I encourage you to spend some time with your family, just looking at these two responses and asking the Lord to give you the same heart that Mary had. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas!